Hi and welcome to another episode of Suave U podcast with Divyaa Advaani. Today on my show, I have a talented lady who is a lovely designer, an interior designer, and runs her own company by the name The Design Street. Join me in welcoming Jigna Mer. Hi Jigna, it's a pleasure having you on this show today. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much, Divya, and thank you for having me over.
It's a pleasure. So Jigna, tell us about your journey. How did your interior designing journey start?
So, I'm third generation into loose furniture manufacturing,
Oh, lovely.
and having a base background of all things technicals, and having a creative mind where I was always inclined towards arts, decor. I was quite creative in that sense where I used to love doing artworks. I chose designing as my background, and interior designing is what came to my mind. So, yeah.
And when did you start your journey?
It's been 16 years that I have working and practicing as an interior designer, and it's been 8 years now that I have started practicing by my own self.
16 years is a very long time.
Yeah.
So how did you, what inclined you towards, getting into this specific field? Like you mentioned to us, you are a third gen into this specific business and how you started your journey because of your inclination towards designing. Why only designing and why interior designing?
I love things which is very homely, which is you are just so close to your house. Whenever you are home, it feels like home, of course, right? You go to a lot of places, but one thing that you miss is home. And interior designing gives you a lot of personal touch. It's loud and clear about space decor, and that's what I really like about doing that of my business. Of course, interiors also got to do with a lot of space as a whole, maybe restaurants and offices, commercial space, retails, hospitality project, but all those space has their own touch, and that's what I like doing about space. So interiors, yeah.
Right. So when you talk about spaces, what is that one specific area that you love working on the most? Is it like recreating a house or doing a retail outlet or doing a commercial space? What is it that you enjoy doing the most?
I totally love doing residential projects because it gives a lot of warmth to the space. It has a lot of personal touch of the clients as well. Having said that, I also like to do a lot of restaurants and hotel projects. Yeah.
So what inclined you towards getting into this? So when you said that you like designing, you thought that giving a personal touch is important. Was there any specific thought that came to your mind which helped you think that people connect more when they are able to design things according to their choices?
Yeah, that's a very important factor when we do designs, and especially when we do a residential project. There are so many people who are a part of the house, right? So
Right.
each and everyone's personal choice, likes, dislikes, that's very important, and that's where I like to connect with them, understand their space, their belongingness, their hobbies, and their work profile, and getting it to a personalized touch is very important. It's an amalgamation of technical details, their likes towards the space, and getting it to a reality. The dream for the designing into a reality is what something I like the most.
One thing that I picked up from the response you just gave me right now was you have to deal with multiple people,
Yeah.
different ideas in one specific house. How difficult is that for you? Or because there are people like my room needs to look like this,
Oh, yeah.
my room needs to look like this. But that common area in a house, like say for example a living room, that is a common area for everybody living in that house.
Yeah.
And then people having different ideas and different thoughts. How do you play around with that?
That's a very good question. Yeah, we have a lot of people to deal with because not everyone has the same liking for the colors, for the stones, for the upholsteries. But yeah, that is where we, help them come to a conclusion and give us the best trending option. At the same time, utility comes very important. So design aesthetic is something but utility is something you're going to use it on a daily basis. So we give them best options according to five people's liking. So if it is a sitting arrangement, probably one likes in another way, second likes in another way. We come up with a middle option where we can amalgamate both the things together and come up with some ideas.
Right.
So yeah, we sometimes help them divide the space and recreate something out of the box. Lighting
Lovely.
also does play a very important role, where some of them like it dimly lit, some of them like daybreak colors, some of them like speck white in the same house. So we give them options like where we can do a tunable light. So all the members of the family are taken care of. Nobody feels bad, and the color of the light, color temperature of the light is also taken care of.
So, what has been like, in these many years? So, when you started your own company 8 years ago, what was that very first client that you cracked? Do you remember your very first client?
Oh, I did a celebrity home. I felt so lucky having that.
Lovely.
Oh yeah, and the celebrity was very humble. It was very good to do her house. It's a couple rather. Both of them were very warm and were very sure of what they are looking for in the house. And it was totally fun to create the space that we've given them.
So, talking about celebrities, so Jigna is a celebrity interior designer. She has not worked with just one, but she's worked with many celebrities. So, tell me one thing, Jigna. So, people usually have this thought that when you deal with celebrities, they're very high ended, they are top notch people, they have a lot of attitude at times, and then, working around in their areas that if I say this needs to happen. But there are so many people who are very mistaken about this fact that it is not like that how they
Yeah.
are. They are
Yeah.
very down to earth.
Yeah.
So have you ever, working with the celebrity clients that you do, have you ever have any one such story where you absolutely fell in love with that celebrity and you just didn't want to finish your project for that matter?
Finish the project. I definitely would love to hand over so that I have more clients, because our industry works under word of mouth publicity, of course. But coming to your point, yeah, people do have misconception about celebrities. See, at the end of the day, we are doing their home. We are facilitating them to create the space that they are looking for.
Absolutely.
We helping them source the right vendors, contractors, getting the right details, and getting it in time. So, having said that, they're very humble. They're very warm, and they're just like we are. It's just that we have to have the right kind of conversation and ethical practice to approach to them. And
Right.
also, we quite make sure that we are not hampering their privacy. Having said the kind of a public figure that they are,
Correct.
but it was very much humble and warm to be with them, and it was a fun experience to create this
Lovely.
space.
But Jigna, tell me one thing. So, you've worked with not just celebrities, but you've also worked with layman people, with business owners, with so many other people
Yeah.
in general. Which is that one specific project that you've utterly loved the most?
I've just very recently completed apartment right here around in town, and what I loved about that is the clients were so warm and so loving and so kind. They had kind of given me a free hand to whatever I propose them. They would be like,
That's
if
great.
you think it is right, just go ahead. If you think it's going to make sense, just go ahead. And that is the kind of trust that they build in us, and that is what helps us cater them to the best of the thing that is possible. So I really love doing that project for them, and it's come out really well, and I'm so happy for them.
That's so good to hear,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
I have known you for a couple of years. I've seen your work for that matter. And of course, without any second guesses, your work is top notch. But then
Oh.
when you talk about, people trusting you with their houses, with their intimate spaces, they see a certain way, they have a certain vision. But there are also times when clients tend to get a little hard on you and they give you a tough time while you are on that project. How do you deal with such situations?
So what happens is when such clients come across with a lot of expectations, probably sometimes what happens is they get very overwhelmed with a lot of things that they see, and digital world is made this world such a smaller space that they sometimes get confused between ये भी करना है वो भी करना है. I want to achieve this also, but we being in this industry, we got to get them in place that look according to the space available, according to the color combination that we are looking at, according to the budget that we are looking at. This is what fits the best. But having said that, we don't stick to only one option. We give them couple of options that these are the things that you got to switch from or you
Right.
got to select from.
Mhm.
And somewhere they also understand according to the space that okay, yeah, somewhere you making sense, and they then boil down. So yeah, it's sometimes little difficult, but not as difficult.
That's great, and I'm sure with your experience and the expertise that you carry, it must be a cakewalk for you. But tell me one more thing. You talk about spaces. So there are also certain times, when in maybe the house would be really big, or even a commercial property for that matter would be really big. But there's this one area which is like really tiny, and that person wants to utilize that specific space and not waste it. Like
Correct.
so many times in our
Yeah.
residential properties,
Yeah.
you see the passage area is usually
Yeah.
good for nothing.
Yeah.
So how do you work around with that?
We try to incorporate and include each and every niche and corners that we have in the house in our best possible ways. Could be, hidden storage, could be a paneling, could be accessory drawer or a unit or a cabinet. But there are a lot of ways depending exactly on where it opens up. So yeah, that is what we as a designer, especially Mumbai designers, when we work outside Mumbai, people come and tell us that we like to hire Mumbai designers because you kind of make use out of every inch and every corner in the house, and we take pride in doing that, I think. So yeah, we try to use each and every corner in the house. Yeah.
That's so good. And how do you, I mean, this definitely that's your expertise and that is the reason why you are in this field. But as a layman, if I am to think that, okay, there's so much space in my house here, what do I do with this? And I'm so clueless about it. How do these ideas even pop up into your head?
I think it's just over a period of time when you brush and you work with so much of space day in and day out, it automatically comes to you, okay, this is where you can fit in a chest of drawers, you can do a paneling, you can do a artifact. When certain people really don't need like a lot of storage everywhere, they don't want to fill up the place. So, but they also don't want it empty. A mirror panel adds to the decor a lot, and it widens up the whole of the space. So, a lot of things that we can do with one empty wall as well. Yeah.
Right. So what is that one specific thing that you have liked and you remember, out of all these years that you've worked, I'm sure you've worked with multiple people and multiple projects, but is there any one such thing that you remember when you were making somebody's house or a commercial property for that matter, and there was a very limited space where you had to rack your brains and get something done? Do you remember any one such incident?
So there was one corner in one of the houses, and we Indians, being Indians, that okay, I want the storage in that corner. I don't know how do we do it. It was a tiny corner which, if we break open, opens into another room.
Oh, okay.
But it was quite wide, and we converted that whole thing into a nice, beautiful bar unit, and the client loved that space. And it's like there and not there. Nobody would come to know that there is any storage there. But when you open up, it becomes a bar unit. So client loved it, and of course, look-wise, aesthetically, it is nice. And utility-wise, it saves a lot of storage. I'm glad that the client pushed me, I think.
So it's a two-way process, you would
Two-way,
say.
two-way.
Lovely.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's great. So talking about dealing with different clients, uh, which client do you really like working with? The ones who usually come out to you for residential properties or for commercial properties?
Oh wow, that's a very good question. For commercial, I would say it's a quick business because commercial you don't have a leeway of हाँ ठीक है देखते हैं करते हैं, let us see options, let us explore things. Commercial is very quick. This is the budget, this is the timeline, or this is the heads up, fix it type kind of a thing. But residential gives you free hand in terms of designs, in terms of budget, in terms of timeline. There are lots and lots of things to do. So, but my heart says residential, yeah.
So also when you spoke about doing hotels, like decorating hotels and doing the interiors for a hotel, has there been any one such specific project that you have loved creating in the hotel space?
Project, I would not take a specific name,
Of course.
but yeah, hotel industry is a versatile industry. It has so many areas and bifurcations in the areas like public areas, and there are rooms, there are restaurants, there are banquet halls, there is a lot of gyms, spas. That is what is the beauty of hotels. That is what I feel. And what I like about them is that there is a lot of layers to the whole of the space. Is what I like about hotels. Yeah.
So do you like working in hotels as well? Like, or do you still prefer residential over hotels?
No, hotels are very beautiful. I love to create hotels and resorts. Residential is something personal. I love doing luxury residential projects, but hotels are too good to work with. I love doing hotels. Yeah.
Lovely. So, given that you travel pan India and you've got multiple clients all over India, which is that one specific place within India that you love doing the most kind of, the interior projects that you have? Like many people, sometimes they come to India to go to visit Jaipur, Udaipur, because of its ancient history
Yeah.
and the structures out
Yeah.
there, the architectural structures out there, right? So people also have a misconception at times that this is how Jaipur is, so the houses also would be the
Oh
same
yeah.
kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it that is it true? Firstly, tell our viewers about it. Is it a myth or is it the truth?
It's a myth, totally a myth. So monuments are describing the city for sure, but the houses, it totally again depends on the client. But of course, not all the houses are so monumental. Nowadays, the modern design is so very in that anywhere you go. I've been doing projects in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Rajasthan, Kolkata, all of these places. But right now, it's of course it's personal touch, but modern contemporary is quite in. Some of the places in Mumbai we've done, which is so contemporary, which is like the client's brief was like, I love going to Taj Udaipur, and I want you to replicate Taj Udaipur in the house.
Oh wow.
Oh, so the whole of the house is snippets of something from Udaipur, and it's brilliant. Yeah.
So when you talk about, getting inspiration from these different monuments and incorporating that in the house, how easy a task is it for you when you work on these designs in a residential area and somebody tells you that, this wall is just there, I like it, but I want something happening here and I want to pick it up from the things that inspire me.
Yeah.
And say, for example, that space is like really tiny. That wall is like just a pillar kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So, how easy does it become, or how difficult does it become for
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to incorporate all of that into this one specific wall?
It is quite challenging, but digital thing is something that helps us create what we do. So we would try and get the things in place as much as possible, or we always recommend them that since this is a smaller place, why don't we try doing this in some other area? Probably in another public space, like it's a lobby or living room is one of the wall, which is a highlight factor. So yeah, that's what we can help them do that.
So, like you just spoke about, doing the living room a certain way, a bedroom a certain way. Have you ever created a project, a residential project that has a storyline to it? That, when you enter a house,
Yeah.
the story starts with this and then it goes on to, telling you stories, a complete story, but in different rooms.
Yeah.
Have you done something like that?
It was a service apartment, I would say, and the service apartment owner, the brief itself was we want a Spain feel, we wanted a Parisian feel, and we want UK outskirts and things like that. So the common areas were replicating UK's lobbies and streets. And one of the room was Spain inspired, one of the room was Paris inspired,
Lovely.
and that is what he wanted to give the experience to the pets that are coming in. It was fun to create that. Yeah, but of course not in the home. We've done it for public areas, common areas. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So when you talk about the storyline, like, creating a common area with a specific storyline, there is also a myth that we can do our own houses. We know what our choices are and what goes best with our taste.
Yeah.
So people have this myth that why do we pay an interior designer extra
Oh,
and
yeah.
why do we need an interior designer? So why don't you help us tell our audience that how an interior designer's presence and involvement in a certain project can help make wonders happen, irrespective of a person knowing things and having a clear vision, and how from his vision to your vision things change drastically.
Totally. Oh, thank you for this question. I would really like to, speak a bit about it. First thing first, there are so many layers as a designer we work on. Right from space planning. Space planning is just a base area. Materialistic pictures like what you get it from online digital platforms are just pictures that you can do. but sourcing them, having the carpenters or contractors do it, executing them in a right manner, procurement of those materials, and availability, timelines. How many time as a real time? How much time is a not so real time? What should you invest in? How much you should be investing in? The same thing is available in different price brackets. What is the correct price bracket that is happening at this time? All these things sums up to a lot of things. Which agency has to walk in at what time? Which agency has to work out at what time? So there are a lot of factors that we consider while we are working on it, right? Also, the coordination when we are on board, the client's life is so much easier and better, I would say, where we are the only point of contact to the clients, no? And when we are not on board, client has to deal with the contractors, the vendors, the coordinating team, material procurement team. So when material procurement in itself comes, there are various agencies that are involved. Contractor as a whole has various agencies as a whole. So see, provided that you have a luxury of time where you can literally be on call and coordinating with everyone day in and day out, I would say it's an experience in itself. But when you don't want to be dealing with them, and of course, there are new challenges when you open up the space, something or the other which adds on to it. And if you don't want to be doing that every day in and day out, then interior designers are the best place to have you.
And also, I believe when you have people working for you, like you mentioned, right, dealing with the contractors, dealing with the vendors, also the labor class who is doing the actual work out there. There are so many times that we see they misbehave or they don't,
Oh, yeah.
even talk to you properly and they just tell you this is what it is, this is what we've been told to do.
Yeah.
So I think that also adds up to all of
Totally.
the brain wrecking things that one needs to
Yeah,
do, right?
true. And also, what happens is sometimes they say that this is how it is supposed to be. Of course, if you're not so well versed with the contractors, he is likely to sometimes misguide you and go away to
Right.
get his work easy and get out of the space and go on to another project. So it's very important that you have a reliable person in place. Yeah.
Like a one point contact, like you mentioned. Like
Correct.
have an interior design, let the interior designer take care of everything else.
Oh, yeah.
But lovely, that's so insightful, because there is a high myth that, oh, why should I pay an interior designer extra when I can do the work
Oh, yeah.
myself? But giving you told us about all of these points, and somewhere, I feel it's so true because I got my house done once without the help of an interior designer, and I didn't know you back then, otherwise I could have asked you.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, then after that I got another interior designer who helped me design my house. I saw the difference, how people were first working and then having an interior designer in place and how he made them work.
Correct.
So that it definitely adds up a lot of volume to it, and
true.
it also not just volume, it also adds a lot of value to the whole project.
Totally. Also, when we talk about the price bracket, for example, when you're getting your house done and you shift it to a temporary home, maybe a rental property or something like that, the rents that you are paying out is quite exorbitant.
True.
So, if I tell you that it's going to get done in 4 months or 5 months, and if it's direct contractor, he might take it to a year.
Yeah.
So 6 months of rental period is something that you are paying over and above the expense that you're going to do in the house.
Right.
Also, what happens at times is when we kind of knowing those guys and we've been working with the team for so many projects, there are a lot of price benefits that we come with. So that we directly pass it to the clients, of course, because we trust them and we want to give them the best value and the services.
Right.
So what I totally feel is the perks are that when we come on board, so the kind of perks that we get since we are associated with the vendors, the contractors and the suppliers for such a long time, that there's a very good discount that they offer to us. Also, when a particular light or particular product is available in multiple stores across Mumbai, across India, who is the best of the vendor who will be supplying you that? So that is the kind of amount that you save on the whole project. Little amount piles up to a big amount.
Absolutely.
And I feel that is the reason why paying that design fees is totally worth it.
Absolutely. So how much time does it take you to, design one specific design?
Totally depends on the scale of the project, but we always tell them that 25 days as a heads up to give them a proper We give them a pitch board, is what we call mood board,
Mm-hmm.
and we give them a proper walkthrough of the whole house. What we our proposal is. These are the options that we've made for them. So yeah, we take good 3 weeks time to do our homework with the clients' likes, dislikes, hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
professions. If there are kids, what is the education like? What are their likes like? If there are pets in the house, if there are any musical instruments that needs to come, and the white goods that needs to come. So it's a very elaborate homework that we do with the clients, and then we put everything in the picture, while we
Right.
propose it to them.
So talking about kids, you just mentioned about, working with kids. Do you like creating kids' bedrooms?
Oh, I think that is the funmost element in the entire house,
Mm-hmm.
where you have the whole free hand to do whatever you like, all the colors that you want to use, all the shapes that you want to use.
Right.
Of course, nowadays it's a digital world, and kids are so specific of what they like and they don't
True.
know. But it's fun and choppy to do their space. Yeah.
So have you ever had any kid come to you and tell you, this is a cartoon character I like,
Oh
or
yeah.
this is a spaceship that I want in my room, and so and there are also times that they'll be like, I want something hanging from, because kids have a vast
Fantasy.
explore,
Yeah,
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 yeah, they
yeah,
explore
yeah.
so much in their
Yeah.
little heads. But have you ever converted that fantasy of theirs into a room?
Oh yeah, one of the kids' house that we did recently was he was all about space and astronauts and lot of things around that.
Uh-huh.
And we added a lot of elements, which was cloudy elements, and we did a moon, which was a 3D moonlight,
Lovely.
and we created eclipse and lot of axes around it, and he
Hmm.
was very happy with it. We also added a lot of upholsteries and tapestries which were matching to the color that he liked.
Lovely.
So yeah, at the end I think almost everyone said the kids room is turned out very nice. So
How
I
did
think
the kid find it?
he was like, just one word, auntie, I love this
How
space.
sweet.
I think that is a kind of acknowledgement, or what do we call?
The satisfaction you get after.
Yeah, absolutely. It is
Lovely.
very de-stressing.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there any one such client that have you ever seen any client in tears after their house is complete?
Oh.
Like the tears of joy, of course.
Oh yeah, I hope that they are all happy tears. But yeah, I think one of the compliments, and that's the best compliment that I found and I felt was, of course, they have been seeing the project in progress as well. But when we finally hand it over, it's so filled with finesse and lot of stuff. And the moment the clients enter, like the space is looking so much larger than what we thought earlier.
Well, lovely.
So yeah, I think that's the best compliment that I could achieve.
And I think there's also a trick involved, right? To make a room look bigger or
Yeah,
smaller and
yeah,
make it compact. So just with the colors you play around with.
yeah,
So that's where interior designers come in.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
But lovely, it's lovely to know. Is there any specific message that you'd like to give our viewers out there?
Space planning is something you can enjoy doing it. Having right people on the board is extremely important, and you should not stress about it. Trust someone and get the house done is what I would say.
So this was Jigna Mer. You saw how she started her journey. She started with a job and then eventually moved on to opening her own company and is doing beautifully today. She has not only acquired celebrity clients but has also been spreading love and her finesse in many hearts and houses and commercial properties also. So Jigna, thank you so much for being here on this show today. It was an absolute delight and pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Divya, for your kind words, and really appreciate and means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, if you wish to see such more stories about how first time entrepreneurs come and start their own business and make it reach to a successful place all by themselves without having any ancestral belongings, you should follow my channel. If you are a first time viewer to my channel, I would request you to please click on that subscribe button and do not forget to click on that bell icon next to it so that you get notified each time that a new video is uploaded. In case you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here with me. If you like this story and this journey of Jigna has inspired you I would request you to please like this video and also share it with all the others out there. This is my way of coming across to each one of you and to inspire you to get started with what your dreams are. Until I see you next, keep smiling, keep shining.